Dear aspirants, welcome to your channel. We are going to discuss today the questions asked from the Indian freedom struggle topic in this year UPSC gs1 paper. So let's begin. So if we see the questions asked in this year gs1 from Indian freedom struggle या modern history, then we will see that the questions are based on three phases of Indian freedom struggle: beginning phases, middle and peak phases, and last phase. That means right from the 1857, the initiation of Indian freedom struggle, or the, you cannot say rightly Indian freedom struggle, but the initiation of the Indian nationalism. The beginning, right? The primeval root of Indian nationalism, which has begun right from the 1857 and which got peak in 1945 or 1947. So the questions are asked from all these three phases, means beginning of the Indian freedom struggle, middle and peak phases, and last phases. Right. So what we can decipher, or so what we can gather. So at what decision we can arrive, means to attempt the questions from Indian freedom struggle, we must have to read the topic. We must have to read the complete topic of Indian freedom struggle as a whole. That means we need a complete understanding of the Indian freedom struggle right from its beginning to up to the 1947. If you are emphasizing on a particular phase like 1945, or if you are emphasizing on particular persons or particular events, then it will not work, because then not only the questions but the requirement of the question, who is, though the question is based on a particular phase, or though the question is based on a particular information or particular person, the required information you have to provide in your answer needs the complete understanding of the Indian freedom struggle from the beginning up to the end. Otherwise, you will not be able to attempt the answers if you have not proper understanding and basic development, that how the basic development has occurred in Indian freedom struggle phases by phases. If you do not know these things as a whole, then you will not be able to write the answers of Indian freedom struggle. And if we see the types of the questions, basic, understanding, complex, and factual, we cannot totally say the questions are complex, but what makes the, though the questions are not complex, but the questions are complex, why? Let's see. First, we can say that the questions are of basic level. Right, the questions which have been asked are preliminary level, or when we read the freedom struggle topic, we can actually anticipate these types of questions. Right, but what is the importance or what is the complexity of the questions are that they require very deep analysis, in-depth analysis. If you do not know how to interlink, how to link the various phases of Indian freedom struggle, if you do not know the influence of various ideologies and their contribution, if you do not know the linkage of one incident to the other incident happened in Indian freedom struggle, then you will not be able to read the write the answers. And there are some factual requirement of the questions also. Right, along with the basic understanding, you need some basic facts to prove those understanding. Right, so though the questions are of basic level, but require deep and in-depth analysis along with the required factual level makes the answer a little bit complex. That means the questions are very basic level, very simple, right? But if you want to get good marks, if you want to go beyond a particular level of marks, then you have to gather a very in-depth analysis, right, along with some factual information. So these aspects actually make the questions a little bit complex. Before proceed, I want to say that I have already made a video regarding the guide of Indian freedom struggle, that how to read the topic, and the questions are almost asked in this year exam exactly the way I have guided. Right, so a link will be given in the description box of that video. So kindly watch that video and follow the guidelines to read the topic Indian freedom struggle. So let's see the questions asked in this year UPSC gs1. The 1857 uprising was the culmination of the recurrent big and small rebellions that had occurred in the preceding 100 years of the British rule. Elucidate. Right, so the question is asking that the result The climax of 1857 was based on the small, big and recurrent rebellions which have occurred in the preceding 100 years of the 1857. Means the question is based on the almost prior to 1857, the incidents which have happened in prior to 1857 and how they have influenced the 1857 rebellion to reach a climax. Right, so the question is based on prior to 1857 or in and around 1857. Next question, examine the linkages between the 19th century's Indian Renaissance and the emergence of national identity. You can say that Indian Renaissance, one way the social reform movements. This question is based on more or less social reform movements, then how the social reforms or Indian Renaissance of the 19th century had contributed to the rise of a national identity or national voice. Right, so this question is asked almost from the social reform or Indian Renaissance part. Another question, many voices had strengthened and enriched the nationalist movement during the Gandhian phase. Elaborate. This question is, you can say, a personality based question versus Gandhian phase. Means the personalities, the freedom fighters, right, which have enriched and strengthened the movement during the Gandhian phase. Right, so the question is from personality based topic. Right, here you have to know the role of various personalities and their role contribution to Indian freedom struggle. Another question, assess the role of British imperial power in complicating the process of transfer of power during 1940s. Assess the role of British imperial power in completing the process of transfer of power during 1940s. This question is based on the last phase of Indian freedom struggle. Then what are the incidents, what are the events, and what is the role of imperial power in completing the process of transfer of power during 1940s. So we can say that right from the beginning of 1857, even prior to the 1857 up to the completion of the transfer of power, the questions are based as a whole from the Indian freedom struggle. Means you have to, as I have already mentioned, you have to understand the intricacies or interlinkages of Indian freedom struggle. Right, what are the various phases, what are the various personalities, what are the various ideologies, and what are their contributions. Only then you will be able to write the answers. So what lesson we can gather from this year Indian freedom struggle question? What trend we have noticed, or how to read the topic? How to prepare the notes from Indian freedom struggle? I have already told you, I have already made a video. Go to the link description box. There you will find a link of that video and you will know the proper guidance to read the topic Indian freedom struggle. But still I am just memorizing some points, bringing some points, that what points you have to keep in front of you while preparing the topic Indian freedom struggle. That interlinking of various incidents and phases. While reading Indian freedom struggle, you have not to jump from one chapter to the last chapter. Right, if you are reading chapter 1, then you should not go to the chapter 4 or 5. Because chapter 2 and 3 are equally important, otherwise you will not be able to link that what are the incidents happened before or what are the incidents happened after a particular event and how they are interlinked. Right, non-cooperation, non-obedience and quit India, for example. If you skip this middle movement, non-obedience, then you will not be able to properly understand what is non-cooperation, what is quit India, and how they are influenced each other. How they have influenced each other. And as you have already noticed, the questions are based as a whole. Right, you have to gather a complete understanding. If you jump or if you skip one particular topic, then you will not be able to properly understand or properly write the questions. Right, so while preparing the topic Indian freedom struggle, do not jump or do not skip. Read in a periodic order from one chapter to the another chapter. Understand the linkages of various events in a proper chronological order. In that way, role of various personalities with reference to the concerned phases. In-depth understanding of various ideologies and their contribution to Indian freedom struggle. Fact, in terms of fact, you can consider sessions, persons, books, etc. Role of literature, role of women, role of peasants, working class, princely stretch to Indian freedom struggle, transfer of power, preceding and succeeding events, various pacts, sessions, and persons related to transfer of power, growth of foreign policy, nationalism, and feminism in Indian freedom struggle. These are some of the points which you have to keep in front of you while preparing the topic Indian freedom struggle. So this is the end of this video. I will come again with another video. Till then, take care and bye bye.